I don't think there was any single one word you could describe Tina with.
Feisty.
Wonderful.
Gutsy.
Forthright.
Heroic.
Great. Overall, great. She was just a really great woman.
She was talking to Danny, my youngest child at the time, telling him all about Disneyland, and she tells me, "You must come over there now that I'm in California, so the boys can go to Disneyland." And so we went that year on June of that year, and she took us to Disneyland. At that time, there was a train that ran around the park, around the Disneyland, and I was crying all the time. He said, "Why are you crying?" I said, "Because if it hadn't been for you, we wouldn't have come." And then I said, "What do you want?" I said, "When I want to write the teacups." And she'd make them go around. She'd purposely make them go around.
And Tina was the type of person you wanted to visit and engage in conversation, which was very easy to do because she always had her take on things, you know. And she had a lot of things to relate about what happened in the past, what she thought about the present, and what she thought the future, where that was going. She liked to have a drink. She liked to smoke. So in those days, that's what we did. You know, I used to be a smoker, and it was nice to get in her company, and we'd have a beer or so, and it'd be like almost talking with one of the guys. Even though she was my aunt, there was no feeling of, oh, you know, I got to watch my P's and Q's or anything like that. You could just sit down and enjoy yourself.
She called me up, literally called me up and said she needed to talk to me, so I bicycled over to her house, and I guess at that point I was probably like in about the 8th grade or something like that. And then she proceeded to tell me she had some very serious things to talk to me about, and she proceeded to give me a sex education lesson, which I wasn't quite sure why she was doing that or what. You know, I never told my mother or dad that she had talked to me about sex, but it didn't make any difference because I'm not sure that I knew what she was talking about in the first place, but she said it was something that was very serious, and that it had to, you know, she was doing it because she knew my mom and dad were not going to do it, and she felt she needed to talk to me about sex. But it was just kind of a bizarre conversation. Then she started telling me, which I later found out, she was really telling me about syphilis. And it was kind of a scary thing that I kind of figured ultimately it was something she must have learned in the military or something. It was kind of a funny story for me, because I was getting my sex education from her, but I wasn't understanding a word that she was talking about.
Any event at the house, like dinners and Easter weekend and that kind of thing, were occasions of, you know, great energy, a lot of kids, and the same thing. And that my Aunt Tina was often kind of like a whirlwind, you know, in the family gathering. But, you know, and she was, you know, people have already talked about her being very outspoken and very direct. And she often was, and always has been, as I recall. And yet, I don't remember ever being. I was thinking about this a little earlier. I don't ever remember getting angry or upset with her about that. I mean, there were times when I was a little puzzled about it, you know, but that was just not something that I have any negative recollection about.
When I got off the plane to come back for this funeral, I felt the hole as soon as we hit the tarmac. It's like New Mexico can't be quite the same without knowing that I will be coming in the future and not seeing Tina, because that was always a part of our trips. You know, we could never just come. It was always about family, and family for us was centered around Grandma Tina.
Whenever I used to go out there to Tularosa, when she still lived there, I just remember she'd always make me the baby cereal, and for everything. Every time I was hungry, she'd just make me the baby cereal, and always play with me with the little ladybug magnets. And till this day, I still eat the baby cereal because of her, and I just really admired her a lot.
my dad was thinking about driving down to Albuquerque to see the family. Hadn't seen them in years and years. And all of a sudden we heard about a tragic accident. So Maria passed away in a car accident, leaving Monica and Damien, Raymond and Maria's children, really alone. Raymond was in the hospital for a number of months. And so the only person to take care of those kids was Tina. And that's really what I remember most, because as we would come and visit over the years, we'd see these little kids growing up, living with their grandmother, and just the responsibility that she took on to raise those kids was wonderful. So we really got to see who she was grow up with these little kids.
She was in the wax long ago, when she was in both her and my brother joined the service, and neither one had the age you were supposed to have, but they added to their age. My sister served in France, and she was very patriotic, and she did a lot of good. You could tell by the way that they acted now. She got buried in the federal, all the soldiers, I guess, because there seem to be thousands of little crosses. It was very inspiring, but of course, I miss my sister very much. I'm older than her, very proud of her, of everything that she did. She was well educated. She worked for the government.